Hey everyone, my name is Rooster and welcome back to Mechabellum. In today's video, I want to highlight the power of speed. Specifically, improved spiders will be played in this game, and it will also kind of highlight the volatile nature of mirrors sometimes, where both of you try to do the same thing, one of you gets ahead, and that kind of forces the other person to try and find a way out of what they were initially planning because, well, you now have the upper hand and they need to jump through hoops and find the correct solution to fix this lack of tempo they have. So, of course, we have Speed Specialist, what better specialist to highlight a game about the power of speed. And then my opponent here is going to be a Giant Specialist. Keep in mind there is a bit of an MMR difference here. Between us two, I think my opponent is around 1900-ish, and I am sitting around 2.2k. So, yeah, keep that in mind in this game. But I think it was an interesting game, and you allow yourself more options are available when there is a little bit of difference between the players. And yeah, this was part of a tournament I played, and it happened to be my final matchup. Now, in this game, again, we have the steel balls. Obviously, we're going to play aggressively. And here I decided to pick up one arc light instead of two and pick up one more crawler. Reason being, my opponent has storm collars and most importantly has fangs. And when it's triple fang, I thought, you know what? It might just be better for me to try and play something like Mustangs here because, well, arc lights aren't necessarily the best into fangs, and I'd rather get something that can run along with the speed, something like Mustangs that would also immediately counter the chaff from my opponent. Now with the speed, we managed to get into the tower, gobble up the arc light, and now we get under the gun line, and so the storm collar should not be that long for this world. And we even keep our arc light alive, so a good first round here. Now round number 2. The important card shows up, Improved Tarantula. For those of you that don't know, this card is very, very powerful. Tarantula has made a bit of a comeback, and it is definitely playable in its current state, but Improved Tarantula makes it even better. This card is not an understatement. Like, it is really, really strong. It gives your Tarantulas 5 movement speed, which kind of solves one of their problems, being that they're short range, but they're quite slow. So suddenly you've got big speed. And then they also get 20% bonus attack and 4 splash range. And all of that just for 50 extra base cost. That is an absolute bargain. 4 extra splash is huge. It basically has built-in HE without the downside of having the reduced attack. And yeah, I mean, look at that speed. It's already sitting at 19 meters a second here. We did click the high mobility, of course, because that's how this game is going to go. I leveled my crawlers, and I mean, look at the speed of this thing. It is so incredibly fast. 3 meters a second slower than my crawlers currently, and if we click Mech Rage, which, you know, a little bit of a spoiler, we just might, we'll get 4 extra movement speed, and we'll actually be faster than our crawlers. And our opponent went for it as well, but put it very much far behind. I think it should have been further up if they wanted to play this. The one downside they have is that they started fangs and I have crawlers. And yeah, with the built-in HE, those fangs are going to die much faster than my crawlers are. Round number 3, we get a bunch of free units. Mustangs here seem to be the pickup for my opponent. For me, none of these look that appealing. I was a little bit concerned about maybe Fortress showing up. But yeah, I don't really care too much here about any of these packs. I could just play Wasp and put them all the way in the back. At least that way my flanks will be covered and I don't have to worry about that. And that seems to be what I'm going to go for. Put those in the back. My opponent does counter them with the Mustangs, but having Mustangs into Tarantulas, to me, doesn't seem like that good of a matchup. Typically, Tarantulas will come out ahead in that fight. And yeah, here we're just starting to sell out of all of our stuff. We sold the Arc Light, sold 1 Steel Ball last turn to be able to afford the round. And yeah, now we just get 2 more Tarantulas, 1 on the left, 1 on the shallow flank on the left side. And we even have money left for a Steel Ball level up there as well. And I mean, just look at how quickly it's mowing through all of these units. clearing the path for the steel balls. Steel balls get a lock on. And this is where things start getting tough, right? Now my tarantulas are starting to get ahead. This one, first one we placed, already able to level up. All the crawlers now joining in. Tarantula there kind of breaking its neck, having to turn around. That's how fast it is. And yeah, we should be able to get rid of this tarantula as well. And so now is where things start getting real tough for my opponents, because they didn't have the crawlers. They had fangs, so the improved tarantulas were better. I had this advantage of like having a really speedy comp, right? Thanks to my specialist. And so now we're starting to kind of pull ahead in the mirror with the improved tarantulas. We get a level. Round 4, bunch of items show up. Mass-produced fortress shows up as well. Enhancement module, pretty good, but there's nothing really I want to sell out of. I kind of want to keep this tarantula, so to me it just seems like a skip, and that's what it's going to be. Opponent here is waiting, but ends up picking the mass-produced fortress. Now, this is a very good card, normally speaking, if you run Fang production. It is very, very powerful. It looks like my opponent is running the correct text for this card. However, Fang production into improved Tarantula, not necessarily the best. Maybe down the line, like round 8, if you have like 10 fortresses spawning shielded fangs, you could be fine. But this early on, I would kind of give the edge to the Tarantulas. And yeah, we mentioned Mech Rage earlier, and here we click it on round 4. First tech, this was played on stream, so I had a bit of input from my chat, and they wanted to see the speed, and so the speed is what we went for. Now, my Tarantulas, with the bonus from the tower, are actually faster than my crawlers. The crawlers move at 22 meters a second. My spiders now move at 23 meters a second. And I mean, look at this. I have to say, like, the animation of the Tarantula is kind of funny to look at. It is somewhat wholesome. Especially when it moves this fast, it is really quite funny. We are also leveling our crawlers here because I could see that they were running in, and my opponent kind of gets stuck on my tarantulas and my steel balls, and so the crawlers are starting to run in, and with speed, crawlers can be such a menace to deal with. And this is kind of what I was talking about, where it's kind of tough in the mirror, right? Because I'm pulling ahead and I'm starting to get these levels, my opponent gets stuck on my frontline units for a little bit too long, and therefore they can't clear the crawlers that come in after. Steel balls here, by the way, doing a fantastic job. Top on damage so far, very happy to keep them, and now we get a crazy good item drop there. Very fortunate. Having that super heavy armor for your steel balls when they grab a level is fantastic. It's probably the best unit to put this item on. It's so strong. All of these steel balls, 23,000 hit points a piece. That's going to be tough to deal with when your fortresses only deal 5k damage a shot. And yeah, here I'm just noticing I can probably just run my opponent down with the speed advantage I have. So we keep going temp speed, we buy more steel balls, and we grab the energy absorption to make sure that they can heal up if they lock on to the fortresses. And that should be possible thanks to these tarantulas. They shoot super fast every 0.4 seconds. And again, 9 meters of splash should mean that there's no real chaff that can survive this. Maybe the best option for my opponent would be to try and buy sledges, but even those should not last all that long against the level tarantulas. And yeah, I kind of think this is the correct thing to do. Just buy more fortresses. That tends to be the way that mass-produced fortress works. And yeah, the flank here, though, probably should have had a fortress in front of it. Although I say that, my opponent managed to dispatch of that tarantula quite quickly. Steel balls here in the middle do lock on, and I mean, look at those fiery crawlers running in now. Very good debuff timing. Means that these crawlers won't go down immediately. I say that. Looks like they did die. And yeah, I mean, the steel balls here are kind of unsung heroes. So powerful and incredibly hard to kill with that item. And we even managed to grab a level there if we want to. Round number 6, Phantom Rays show up. Phoenixes as well. Phantom Rays could be an idea, but because Phoenix, Marksman, and Melting Point was offered, although Phantoms are fine into Melter, didn't really want to pick that up. And I was still lacking some anti-air here as well, so it's quite nice that the game gave me 4 anti-air options. I was thinking about Marksman, but I'm running in, so the only logical option here would be Phoenix or Phantom, and considering Phoenix is counter Phantom, that was an easy choice to make. And so yeah, we go for the Phoenixes, and we put them on the outsides of the tower. That way, this back Phoenix should turn if I get flanked. And now we click Replicate on our crawlers. I mean, look at the amount of levels we managed to pick up. 2 of these crawlers already level 3, and as we could see from the previous turns, they were just kind of getting in and hitting some targets, so Replicate should get some good value. Sadly, I don't run Mech Rage on my crawlers. We could have had even more speed, but it's kind of funny that the Tarantulas now are the fastest thing on our board. So maybe it's nice that it is this way. Fang Spawn now comes out for the fortresses. This could be good again down the line, but yeah, improved Tarantulas, I haven't even clicked HE yet, have so much splash potential that Shielded Fangs don't really work that well into them. Maybe you should have clicked range, but yeah, I'm not even sure I would know what to do in this situation. It's very, very tough. You almost have to try and hack these units. And some air could have been an option, but yeah, the game offered me some anti-air options there as well, and we just get to the tower so incredibly fast. And now you can see the crawlers are starting to just trickle in, get replicates off. The marksmen are dying. That is what my opponent picked from the drop. And yeah, this is just pure speed specialist tempo with great cards from the game being offered. Round number 7, Smoke Bomb available, Amp Core available. We pick up a quick Amp Core for our Tarantula. Could also throw it on top of a Steel Ball if we want. There's a bunch of good options. And yeah, Steel Balls now, almost all of them are leveled as well. These guys over here sitting at a whopping 42k hit points apiece. Every single Steel Ball in this pack is tankier than my opponent's fortresses. That is quite something. Opponent here goes for the Smoke Bomb. Oil might have been something that they should have picked up earlier. But yeah, it's really tough to clear the crawlers here, and I'm not really sure what you would purchase. The only things that would come to mind would be something like Wraith, but that's quite tough to play in these scenarios because they're kind of low range, and you would need quite a few of them. Vulcan is very expensive, and I'm not even sure it would do enough. Vulcan might just get stuck on a Tarantula or a Steel Ball and then die. Opponent here does go for the oil. I think that is a good choice, and ends up going for the Fortress Barrier as well. I'm not quite sure about that, but I think that they picked it because the Smoke Bomb was available, and this way they can at least block the spells without having to buy shields themselves. I think range, again, probably would have been better, but yeah, this is getting really tough. Shielded Fang, maybe, but again, the Tarantulas just clear so fast that I'm not sure what you can do. And yeah, we even click HE preemptively here, noticing the amount of Fangs my opponent has. And let's see how this goes. The Steel Ball should lock on. The smoke is not really that much of an issue, considering none of my units have range anyway, and we kind of just want to get in close range. And look at those crawlers doing so much work. Steel Balls are locked on. Looks like the barriers did do a pretty decent job, but the right side now is starting to collapse, and as the Steel Balls get closer to the tower, my team gets closer to 9 seconds of debuff. We are now locked on. There goes the 9 seconds. We still have a Tarantula left alive to clear some of the spawned Fangs on the left side. Phoenixes are alive too. Steel Balls now going for the tower. Crawlers should get that debuff with a little bit of help from the balls. And that is how we close out the game on round 7. Absolutely crazy turn of events here. Yeah, I got quite fortunate, I have to say, with the cards I was offered as a speed specialist. Getting that improved Tarantula when playing aggro is just bliss. And then, yeah, getting the levels early, having the crawlers to start with, getting the super heavy armor, and then also getting those Phoenixes to protect the flanks. This was just absolute perfection in terms of RNG for me. But it does end up making a pretty unique game. I can't remember the last time I had improved spiders that were moving faster than my crawlers. It's not a card that shows up early very often, and yeah, if it shows up late, you usually already are invested into some units. Again, for my opponent here, Not sure what they should have done. I think going for the Mustang probably wasn't the best option. Although, looking at it now, it was second on damage. So it actually did quite well. I kind of wonder what was first. Must have been some Fortress. Or was it a Tarantula after all? It was actually a Tarantula. Wow. Untech improved Tarantula, top on damage. Yeah, maybe they could have invested more into these because they do have quite a bit of shaft gear potential. So it probably is best for them to try and stay within it and maybe get a tech. But yeah, this is just a tough game to play. Anyway, if you like improved Tarantula or you like speed spec, do let me know down below what you think about it. If you want to stay up to date with the latest content, please consider subscribing. If you want to see me play live, please check me out on Twitch. And with that being said, take care, guys, and see you in the next video. Bye-bye.